Hello and welcome. This is Joe Valenzuela with Vista Mutual Insurance Services, and I'm going to share some tips with you on how to get ready and prepared for the upcoming annual enrollment period. Let's get into it. And the first thing that I want to talk about is certification. And this is national certification. There are a couple that are out there. Our team happens to do the AHIP certification. This is because it's the one that's been out the most, and we're just very familiar with it and the processes with it. Costs you about $175. But if you go through a carrier certification, you're able to get a discount of $25 on that, or sorry, $50. So it gives you a $125 fee. And I would suggest waiting for the carrier certifications to come out in order to do that. AEP comes out sometimes a little bit before, and you can take it early, but it'll cost you an extra $50. So the first thing that we think about is certification, specifically with AHIP. I know there's NAHU and other ones as well. And there's sometimes carriers that will just allow you to certify with them without even doing those processes, just a direct test with them. But the reason we do that is because we certify with multiple carriers, and we want that to transfer over, so then we just have to do their, product certification. So certifying, making a list of all the carriers that you have, and making sure that you get those done sooner than later, because we don't want you to stress about them. It can be something that goes down to the end of the enrollment period before it starts, and now you're having to do a bunch of testing instead of learning about products. So do this as soon as possible. You also want to check your errors and omissions coverage, since usually people buy their E&O coverage on a yearly basis, and what this is just insurance for insurance agents, so that if we make a mistake that we're covered. Usually it's a $1 million policy. Don't worry, it's not that expensive. And it renews every year. And if you just got into this industry during the election period, you want to make sure all that's good to go so that you're not in AEP and then have to do something that you thought was already done. So check on your errors and omissions coverage. You also need to check on your license, your state license, on every state that you're selling in to make sure that you don't need to renew it, and that your continuing education credits are applied to what you're doing and that you have completed them. We as insurance agents have to take about 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years. And sometimes people forget about it, and it can get, towards the end of when they're going to apply for their license again, and then they have to do a whole bunch at once. So just keep that in mind. You need to have your license, your errors and omissions coverage, and you need to be certified, as well as complete your continuing education in order to continue to receive commission. Any one of those things will lose your commission for that company, or possibly even all companies, if it's the national certification or the state requirements. After you've done all that, we want you to take a look at your technology. Now, this is something that you should be looking at throughout the year, just to find out where you can improve, or maybe there's new tools that have come out that are better suited for your industry. So do a quick tech check. Make sure that if you were looking at a new CRM and you kind of switched over to it and it's not fully there, that by September, the month before the annual enrollment period, that's all locked in and ready to go. Because you don't want to be building something while you should be focusing on other things. So take a look at your computer, make sure your cell phone's good. Your organizer, your planner, we use online ones. So take a look at all of your technology to ensure that it's still effective for you and that it's still working properly. And let's talk more about carrier certifications, because there's the AHIP, the national certification, and this is usually a part of the carrier certifications. But as we spoke about just a moment ago, some will have a complete test that you can do outside of that, which is fine, but that's usually only for that particular carrier. So you'll have to do more of those same types of tests for other carriers, which is, again, why we do AHIP. Or if you do NAHU, you can do the same thing. Transfer that to all the carriers, but you still have to do all of their product-specific training. And depending on the carrier and how many that you do, this can be an incredibly large task. You should have started this in July. And if you haven't started yet, that's okay, but you need to start now. You need to get this stuff done, first of all, so that you know what the new products are going to be, where they're going to be, where you have to position yourself based on what new products are coming in or backing out. All these things can help you. So the sooner that you can get those carrier certifications done, less stress that you have off your back, and the more that you know about how to attack your market. And once you know how to attack your market, what you want to do is look, if you do these, and this is what my team does a lot, is sales seminars. We advertise sales seminars for people from the public to come out and learn about the plans. But in order to do that, you need to have venues, restaurants, pizza places, bowling alleys, hotels, just places for people to come and meet. So doing this for a number of years, we have a listing of places, but places close down. There could be better ones that will draw more of a crowd. So we're always evaluating this. We want to pick a place that's accessible, both ADA accessible and just accessible right off the freeway or good parking, things like that. We want to have these venues locked down well before other people can do it so that if we go to use a venue and it's already been locked down for that amount of time, we can't use it. So by doing this early, we ensure that we can get the venues that we select. And there's an order of magnitude there in cost. I think pizza places are the lowest cost, and because they don't charge you anything usually for the room, you just have to pay for the small amount of food that you get. And then you go into restaurants and then hotels and then meeting rooms. So depending on what kind of funding that you have, there's always a place for you to do these. So finding and setting up meeting venues. Now, once you've done that and you're completely certified for the carriers, you'll also need to order materials. Now, we live in a somewhat digital world. And I say somewhat because there are certain places where just having digital materials doesn't work. For instance, in a sales meeting. In a sales meeting, we want to have that material and application right in front of them so that they can look at and see what we're talking about. It helps them understand it more. And then they can fill out an application at the end. Because if we had to do that digitally with 40 people, we'd be there all day. So we run through the application with them and they can fill it out as we're talking. So ordering those materials, it's imperative. There's usually pre-orders right after you certify with the carrier that will allow you to get your materials right in the beginning of AEP. After that, there are orders that happen around the end of September where you'll probably get them around October 15th. So, there's ways that we can still get them digitally on October 1st, and we can still email them, we can still present them, we can even print them out and show them. But you need to have a stockpile of the things that you think are going to sell the most in your county. You can talk to your FMO about this as well, or your upline agency. Sometimes they have the ability to do bulk orders for you, so you can get all those materials and be ready to go day one. You also want to organize. Organize. And I struggle with this a little bit. My wife has helped me a little bit. What I mean by organize is that you want to have things readily accessible for you when you go into an appointment. You don't want to be pulling up to a house, rummaging through your car through a bunch of different things to find materials that you need to walk in. It's just going to make you stressed. So if you have, an organized box or bins in your trunk that have this carrier, or this county, just makes things so much easier for you. So be as organized as much as you can be. And the more you can be, the more it's going to help you. This is a step, and it could have been before these steps that we just discussed, but you also need to identify member displacement opportunities. And you do this by going to those first looks and certifications from the carriers, where they tell you what's going to happen with the plans. Also by having your connections throughout the market. If you have a connection with a network of doctors or a carrier that's really good, sometimes they'll give you this information early. It helps them help you so that you can position yourself in a way to capture this. If a plan is backing out of a market, you need to know, because that's where opportunity is going to be. If a plan is backing out of a network, you need to know. Again, that's where the opportunity is. Also, if a plan is going from $3 a month to $50 a month, that's something that you should know too. Or even if the plan is saying the exact same, but most of the benefits are rising in cost, and there's another plan that's more suited for people in that particular network of doctors. These are all things that can shape how you're going to run your entire AEP and can help shape your marketing strategies around this. We've talked in a lot of videos before about marketing, but you really, during AEP, need a multi-channel marketing approach. You have to be doing email, you have to be doing social media, you have to be doing direct mail, and there's a number of other things that you can do as well. We don't do a lot of radio, but we hear good things about radio. We don't do a lot of direct TV advertising, but we hear a lot of good things about that too. There's ways that you can get into Comcast and Hulu for really small costs if you're thinking TV advertising costs a lot. But they can do campaigns on Hulu for $500. So it's really being strategic and very impactful with what you're going to do with your marketing. And don't do just one thing. If you do just one thing for one carrier and it doesn't work, you're going to be very disappointed. And I can almost guarantee you that if you just do one thing for one carrier, it's not going to work. You should also be buying leads. We can send out direct mail. We can do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok campaigns in order to get people to reach out to us during this time where all the focus is here. So you need to have that multi-channel approach, do everything, and don't rely on a partner to just do everything for you. There are instances where we'll co-op with a partner, or they'll say, hey, we're just going to advertise your meetings for you. And we say, great, that's fantastic. But we're also going to advertise them, just in case something happens where you guys don't get the mail out in time, or it doesn't go to the right subset of people that we needed to, or it just goes a little bit further than we would have done it. We're also going to do our own marketing campaign. So never solely rely on somebody else to fill your meetings for you. There also are the new plans that come out. So during these carrier certifications and the product rollouts, they're going to talk to you a lot about the new plans. But you need to know everything about them before you go and present something. So how are you going to do that? Well, a lot of times the plans will come out October 1st. That's when fully we can download everything, and consumers can as well. Now, we get a lot of information before this, but this is really when we start doing the majority of our research. So we know the basic tenets of the plan before that day, but we don't know the ins and outs, the small details, the nitty-gritty that's in there. We get trained on them, but sometimes the evidence of coverage comes out, and it's slightly different than what we were trained on. So we just need to verify for ourselves, make sure that we're incredibly confident about what we're presenting to other people. We should be the expert. There should not be a question that you shouldn't answer or that you can't answer, and all those answers are inside the evidence of coverage. If you go into an evidence of coverage and search for your question, you're going to find the answer there, or you're going to get very close. Now, sometimes we need to go above and beyond and ask questions that don't appear in the text, but it's very rare. Go to the EOC. You're going to learn everything from there. Once you know it, then you can practice presenting it. You need to have your presentation solid. If you're at a presentation and you can't answer a question that's seemingly simple, you've lost the entire audience. So make sure that you're the expert before you proclaim to be. So I really want you to think about this right now, because we're in mid-August, early September, and you should have been doing these things already. But if you haven't, you still can. There's still time. And if you need help with any of this stuff, please feel free to contact Vista Mutual Insurance Services. We would love to work with you. We're mainly located in Northern California, but we work with everyone in all states. And we really want to give you these things as just value that you can use to make your AEP a little bit smoother. For Vista Mutual Insurance Services, I'm Joe Valenzuela. Thank you so much for being here to watch these videos. And please like, share, and definitely comment below if you have any questions or concerns. We will answer them fully. You can always reach out to us as well. Have a great rest of your day.